My name is Andrea Schermoly and I've been a dancer with Netherlands Dance Theatre for 6 years. NDT! Dong 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 dong. Netherlands Dance Theatre was formed as of next year 50 years ago, and then a couple years after its formation NDT2 was formed, which was essentially a junior company, and only in the last I'd say 20 years is it really formally in its own right a company of its own. Almost, it functions entirely separately from NDT1, but it's a junior group, a junior age group. So people between the ages of 17 and 24. And it's supposed to be a transition phase between school and Netherlands Dance Theatre 1, which is the main company. The main company has, at the moment, 28 dancers, and the junior company has 16. And we do completely separate performances and separate touring. But then NDT2 dancers are selected to join NDT1 after a 3-year contract. So not everyone from NDT2 joins NDT1. It's kind of, that's where the competition part comes in. But yeah, it's really essentially a company that feeds into NDT1, but also because it functions so much by itself, it's so fulfilling and amazing on its own anyway. Over the years, it's kind of changed. It generally was seen as exclusively taking dancers from NDT2, but now different fashions and directors and things have come in, and now we have a lot more dancers that come outside, straight from other companies. And also we have a lot more dancers now that come from companies before they go into NDT2. That's a lot more common. So the NDT2 level of dancing and the age of the dancers is a little bit higher, but the quality is incredible because they all have a lot of stage experience, which wasn't the norm before. I don't know what the average of dancers that make NDT2 to NDT1 are. I think this year, for instance, there's 3 boys, but before my group of year, there was my group in my year, there were 5 of us that made it through to NDT1. Yeah. It changes every year. I don't know if there's an average. It just depends on how many contracts are available too in NDT1. A lot of people stay. It's not a place you generally leave very easily, so it's hard to come back. I think there's certain dancers that can still do point work. I mean, it's a really specific technique, and I don't think a lot of dancers enjoy doing it so much. They're the few that do, and they're the first to jump at it, so everyone's like, that's fine, you can do that. I personally don't like dancing on point, so. The company has done, I think I've seen 1 piece on point, Forsyth, and then, but in recent years, no.
So 1 in 6
Oh no, wait, and we had 1 other piece on point, yeah. I think 2 in the last 6 years, yeah. We train ballet every day, just really simple ballet class. And the ballet class is also not as rigid as a as a classical ballet company, I think. I mean, it's given that way, the teacher instructs you, but we don't do strict ballet, extremely strict ballet anyway. For Paul Lightfoot and Sol Leon, we did this piece in Paris Opera that I was topless, and it was just 2 boys and myself, so that was an interesting experience. But it was really weirdly freeing. It was sort of the most liberating experience I've had. And but that took a while to get used to. It's fine on stage, you're completely in your own bubble on stage, but rehearsing half naked with people. Yeah, you have to try, because all the lifts, I mean, even just skin-wise, it's slippery, and you get really sweaty, and yeah, you have to try it out. But that was different. It was really, I didn't quite feel like myself, but really entirely like myself too, which is strange. I think all through school, personally, I really loved contemporary dance always, and in the South African school, it was really prominent. You were always doing contemporary classes throughout your week, and some of them were African classes, some of them were neoclassical classes, some of them were Graham-based, all of your sort of fundamental contemporary classes, and they were always given as much weight as ballet and taken as seriously. And I think we had a lot of examples of stuff, and I don't know if that comes from being, honestly, I think about it, if sometimes when you're in a country that's so far removed from the rest of the world, there's such an emphasis on just giving you as much knowledge as possible and showing you what's out there and giving you as much, you know, just broadening your horizon so you see what's going on. And they were really, really great about that in school. So I think there was never this feeling of just going down the classical narrow route for me. But I saw that when I moved overseas, especially to London, that, you know, there's like a plethora of work. There's so much work going on all around. It's the greatest city for, you know, any sort of genre of dance, and everyone was just like this. It was bizarre. And also in kind of a snooty way, you know, they didn't want to know outside their box. And that's just because of the type of, like, sometimes you have idols or people you've looked up to, and then you can't really branch yourself out, and you don't really know what you like either if you're not given more information in school, I think. So for dancers going into the professional arena now, I would just, there's just so much dance out there, and nothing is just one thing anymore. All the classical companies do contemporary rep. There's mixed bills, like every two production is a mixed bill of 3 different contemporary dancers and 3 different contemporary choreographers. And everything's a mesh now, and it's great, it's so cool. People are just, it's really interwoven. I don't think you can be just one thing anymore, and I think people are appreciated for being versatile. That's what I really like. Like some of the bigger stars now, even Sylvie Guillaume, for instance, you know, she's worked with Matt Seck so many times, and with Killian she comes here all the time to do galas and things, and people respect her more because she can do everything. So I think it's really a good, and it's so interesting, so much good stuff. You know. Actually, now I have a very specific set of circumstances that have made me realize how short a dance career is. And I think just to really appreciate the fact that you're dancing and not be in a rush to be somewhere specific, but just to enjoy what you're doing. It's such a gift to use your body, it really is, and to have a healthy body. And I think like dancing can be also lateral learning. I don't know if that makes sense. You don't have to go somewhere specific with it, but there's just so much to always be sort of feeding yourself with. And just, yeah, I'm more appreciative now than ever of the fact that I can do this, or that my body was and is able to do this. There's a lot of things that come in your way, you know, and even if you're not in the best company or not in the best place you really want to be right now, but just to be thankful and just work at it constantly. We're lucky to do this.